Hello and welcome to another Savvy Homemade video, and today we'll be learning how to make bath bombs, and this is my absolute favourite recipe. It's foolproof, you shouldn't have any problems with it at all. Just follow the ingredients and my instructions. So let's get started. Okay, so we have all our dry ingredients and our citric acid and of course our lovely oils with a few drops of the soap dye. So we'll take away the citric acid for now because we won't be using it, and so you want to pour your oils, because we won't need to melt anything because they're all oils, and you want to pour that over your dry ingredients. I'll give it a bit of a stir here because sometimes the soap dye that I'm using is water soluble, so just give it a good stir, and it's good to have a few drops in there first simply because it gives you a gauge of how much you'll need to use. So we'll mix this in after and see what the colour looks like, and we might need to add a few more, and I can tell you now as a spoiler I will be adding a fair bit more. So I'm using a peach kernel oil today, and it's a really good oil for anyone who's got dry, sensitive or mature skin. However, you can pretty much substitute it for whatever oils you want, an oil blend, maybe some cosmetic butter, whatever you like. And I've also added my fragrance oil, which today is a mix of strawberry and vanilla, and you can use pretty much any fragrance oil you like, but you can also use an essential oil if you prefer as well. So our dry ingredients are basically just a mix of baking soda, cornstarch and Epsom salts, and that's kind of your base for a bath bomb. It's really kind of basic. You can add other things like clay and so on. Today we're just going to keep it quite basic. We'll be adding our citric acid later, and the reason I do this is because I find that sometimes when you've got the citric acid mixed in and you add your oil, it can sometimes react in the bowl and then it won't fizz in your bath, and that's really something we really don't want. So yeah, as you can see here, I'm just giving it a good mix, and you can see that the colour is not very strong at all, but it's just a gauge, the first little bit of colour that we add to the oil. So I'll be adding a bit more, and I'll add a few drops at a time, mix, just make sure that I get to a nice decent pink colour, which is what I'm looking to get today. So now you can see I've got a really nice bright pink colour. I had to use quite a bit of soap dye here, more than I expected, but that's fine, it doesn't really matter. You can use as much or as little as you like, and the soap dye is really good because it shouldn't leave any nasty marks on your bathtub. Okay, so it's time to add our magic ingredient, which is the citric acid, and this is the active agent in your bath bombs that will make them fizz. And it's really important once you've added this to give it a really good thorough mix. I just use my hands just to make sure that it's fully evenly distributed throughout the bath bomb mixture, because you don't want one bath bomb that fizzes a lot and another bath bomb that doesn't. Okay, so now it's time for the fiddly bit. So you want to pop your mould into the bowl and just sprinkle some in. We want to pile it up quite high and give it maybe a little bit of a tap as well sometimes to make sure that it's fully in the mould. Yeah, so you're going to press the two halves together and put a lot of pressure on here now, because we want those two halves to form into one little ball. And as you'll see, I'm putting quite a bit of pressure on, and then lift one side of the mould up, exposing it, and really be really gentle here, and just as I'm doing, pop it onto the greaseproof paper and lift off the other half of the mould. And it should be fine, and it can just sort of sit there overnight, just drying, making sure it solidifies 100%, because the last thing you want to do is to touch them and then they fall apart. You just don't want that. So just leave them alone for 24 hours and they should dry. So there we are, that's all of the bath bombs moulded now. I got a little small one as well because I had a little bit more mixture left. But yeah, so you just want to leave that for 24 hours just to dry and solidify. Okay, so we've left them for 24 hours now, so they're all solid and I can play around with them. But you'll also notice that the line, the impression made from the bath bomb, is still there. So the best thing to do here is basically just to scratch it off. I use my thumbnail. You probably shouldn't, but that's just because I've done this so often and now I use my thumbnail. However, you can use something like a plastic credit card just to run across the sides, just to even it out a little bit. The last thing you want to do is use metal, so don't be tempted to use like a spoon or anything, because you could dent your bath bombs too much and you want a nice finish on them. And here's just a little video of me testing them. I think quality control is really important. So yeah, you just want to pop it into some hot water, simulates how you would in the bath, and oh, look at it fizz! I love it. I love the fizz so much. It's one of my favourite parts. Just imagine being in the bath with it, just soaking into your skin and leaving it super soft. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this video as much as I've enjoyed making it. And for more homemade craft and gift ideas, come on over to savvyhomemade.com.